Yeah.
So I'll give my
Right. Yeah. Right. Welcome, guys. So today we will be focusing on the lab 8. So far, we've gone deep and we've covered different things. So, is there anyone who could volunteer giving us a recap of all we've done so far? Yeah, a recap. Yeah, guys.
Okay. Let me try. You mean from the very beginning when we started?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Okay. So I think we first started. So we broke down the first. They broke down the overall. What they call this? The scenario. What that scenario? Is a word for it. We broke down the overall scenario of these people that wanted to employ us as senior data engineers of AdventureWorks. Then we broke down data engineering requirements, such as their data, their storage, their needs for a collaboration tool, their distribution requirements on Cosmos DB and relational databases. Then, so we looked at the data lake storage, we saw how to set it up, how to configure them, how to set up data bricks for collaboration between a data science team and okay, we did Cosmos DB. We worked on this, configure the Cosmos DB, saw how to with I think SQL APIs. Yeah. So I think that was up to yesterday. So yesterday I didn't join. Then yesterday I'm sure you guys did like 6 and 7. Where I think you guys did real-time analytics and data factory. So yeah, I think that's for me. That's what you guys we've done so far.
All right. Thank you, Wale. Thank you so much. Yep. Anyone else who wants to add? Yeah, Funani,
So,
Nathan.
So for me, I want just to to add to what Wale has been saying. Like at the very first beginning, we were trying to identify the service offered by Azure and how to implement them like in real life.
Yeah.
In real life problems. I don't know. That one is kind of like summarizing of everything.
Okay. Okay. But for you personally, what has been your takeaway? Maybe if your takeaways, if there are more.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The most interesting part, like the one the most interesting part, the one like really, should I say, really touched me, like the most. It was Azure data bricks.
Okay.
Databricks, because like Databricks, like the way in the previous session, like
Yeah.
provide platform like to collaborate like different departments.
Mm.
Like different departments, like it's allow like to link like different departments depend on wherever you are. So like these tools like allow the allow me as a data engineer like to link that the department. So Database one of the tools like in Azure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you. Who else is on the call?
And
Okay. Funani. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Funani.
So I guess
What
most
has
of
been
the
your
stuff
takeaway? What has been your takeaway so far?
a lot. Okay, where do I start? Okay, I could say my key takeaway was from yesterday labs. Since from the previous labs I wasn't available. Stream analytics was actually a real eye opener. I'd never used stream analytics before. All the configurations and how to create one and how to make sure that you configure security for your event hubs, and then the real life sort of like scenario of how you could actually implement all the data processing with stream analytic jobs, and also Databricks, how to create pipelines. And I did go through the final stages of last night's lab.
Okay.
Even though I didn't have an active subscription, but I did look at a few keynotes from Microsoft Ignite, where they were talking about Databricks and data factory, how you could build pipelines and learn about how it's pretty cool if you understand SSIS, implementing SSIS on premise. How it's easy to migrate that knowledge onto the cloud. So it was really a great eye opener, and I think I'm going to, after DP-200, I think my next one will be to study for machine learning in the cloud, machine learning with Azure.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, because I saw that it can be easy with the pre-configured items already in the cloud. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great guys. So thank you so much for the feedbacks, and we'll continue with the lab for today. And the lab for today is going to be about security. As we all know, security is key to whatever solution you would be deploying for your customers. And for you to deploy a working solution, you really need to be mindful of security, because it's one thing that you build a house, and a very beautiful house, and the house is not secure. So in order to avoid that, you would want to secure the house and see how possible it is that you could provide adequate security to ensure that it's fine. Yeah. Okay. So in order not to spend so much time, we would go straight to what we are supposed to do today. So the focus here is on the scenarios, the various. Yeah, sorry. Oh my. Okay. Yeah. So the scenarios so far, we've deployed different Azure technologies. We've been able to deploy them. In fact, when I went to my Azure subscription this morning, I discovered it was almost finished because of some of the technologies we had deployed, and some I forgot to turn off last night. So they ran through the hours. They ran through the hours. I was hoping they could last and we would finish with all the labs. So I had to delete some of the resources. If not, we would not have anything to practice with. Yes, so we'll be considering the security scenarios we've talked about, security components that we need to look at, and then the security for our data storages and also for applications. And I'm very sure we are all conversant with the OSI model. Is there anyone familiar with that OSI model? Yeah, anyone?
OSI.
Yeah.
The network
OSI.
model.
Yeah. Sorry?
Yeah, I've done it in a module in college. You want someone to explain?
Yes. Can anyone try?
I could try.
Okay.
Okay, so I will start. How can you scroll down? I can't see what's in the middle there.
This is
under application.
Data.
Oh, it's data. Oh, all right, data. Okay, so I will start at the highest level, which is the highest layer, which is layer number 7, which is our application level. So our application level is basically our user interfaces, or what the end user will end up interacting with. And usually it involves high-level APIs. We're looking at your resource sharing, your remote file access, and the list is endless. So you can take, for example, maybe your application layer to be, I can give an example of, just think of anything you use as at a UI level. That I could give as an example for your application, and then going up the layer, here it says compute, but the normal diagram I know would go on presentation, I don't know if Daniel, you want me to explain using this, or I would explain using the actual OSI model. Hello? Hello, Daniel. Hello.
Network issues.
Network issues. Check. Okay, so should we wait for him?
All right. Well, wait. Let me probably share my screen. You can just see what he was sharing. Okay.
Wait. Peter. Okay. Below is the diagram.
Yes, can
Layer support to security. Data application compute. So, Wale,
yeah.
did you want us to explain this particular diagram, or just explain the OSI model?
I think based on this diagram, I was asking
Okay.
that understanding of it. I think
Okay. So we just wait from there.
He said we'll continue.
Sorry?
He said we should continue.
Oh, okay. Okay, so from the course content taken so far. So I guess from this diagram, how many layers we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this in this context of Microsoft's level, so we have 7 levels, right? Data, I would put it is our physical, that is the transmission and receiving of the raw bytes, and then we have application, compute, network, and parameter. Okay, so the physical security, I'm looking at it as what you call it, Microsoft's physical security to their servers, making sure that data center wise, all their clients' data is the perimeter entrance to the servers is being protected. And then we go down to identity access. We look at identity and access. We're looking at things like single sign-on and things like your keys. There's a section where we talked about the access keys to the various resources that you'd have created. Like for example, yesterday's lab, where we have keys which you could keep in key vault for you to then access the resources offline from a remote location. Then looking at perimeter. So perimeter, I could, that's number what? That's perimeter 765. That's maybe perimeter. Looking at your sessions. I'm just trying to relate this to the actual OSI model. Looking at your sessions and on how you could actively keep your sessions, which see the exchange of data in and between between nodes, and then network, looking at stuff like in terms of security, I'm looking at end-to-end encryption. I'm seeing transparent data encryption, for example, Azure SQL database, data warehouse, sorry. Then data lake, store, which provides encryption for data stored in the account. And then also looking at storage support, offered by Blob Storage for storage service encryption. I think that will be on network. And then on compute in terms of security, this one I think I'll need help from you guys. And then on an application level, I think here we can talk about session management, how often or how long your application can allow someone to be idle before shutting them out from their active access. And then data, as I mentioned, we're looking at blob storage, which we're looking at in transit and non-transit data encryption. I think that's all I can say on this architecture. I don't know if there's anyone who could want to add anything.
That was really good, Nani. So I had like very little like understanding of some of this one, especially this perimeter. Like I didn't know what it was. So, but I think so I learned a lot from that. So for identity now, so I'm thinking of something like, you know, Active Directory level. So you can authorization levels in your so data. You can restrict access to your data through by giving access and authorization to only a very limited number of people. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. So for compute, I'm thinking, you know, so for example, you know how they give you when you're on a Microsoft. So those kinds of computers are, you know, encrypted as well. So you can only use a particular sandbox for particular things. And when you start infringing on, you know, using it, for example, to mine blockchains, you are rapidly shut out. You know, you can only use particular compute for purposes, right? So I'm not sure if that's right, but that's what I would have said since you requested for help with that. So I don't know if Nathan has. I don't know if Nathan has something to add to what we've discussed. And if Nathan's still with us.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, this part, this part actually I was trying to go through like during the day, and I had some difficult like moments like with some of the layers. That's why I was trying to follow like what you guys are going to explain, because it was kind of like challengeable like, for me like in this one.
Okay.
Hello, guys.
No problem. So okay. Oh, Daniel is here.
Sorry.
Hello, Daniel.
Thank you. I really am sorry. The network here I just don't know what happened. It went off.
Okay,
Right?
so Funani gave hello.
Yeah. How's it been?
Yeah, Funani gave a run through of the layers of security, comparing it to the OCI format or security format. So let me just read it. So for physical security, he referred to the actual like in the regions, so like the actual physical warehouses that before you can get access into the building of the data center, you have to go through security checks, so not just authorized to be there. Then for identity and access could so for things like access keys and tokens that you have to retrieve to actually have access to parts of the application or data, and also restricting access via your identity, like your Active Directory, your email, so stuff like how did disable perimeter?
Perimeter.
Then could you help? Yeah.
Okay.
You related it some with the OSI model.
Yeah. Funani wanted to say something.
Yeah. No.
I think on perimeter, I didn't quite really get as to which OSI layer to then reference to. But I was looking at it on a more of a under the session or transport layer. I think those two segments. I think I did mention something to do with the session management or the transport layer management. So on session, maybe we're talking of managing the communication sessions. There's something I read today with regard to the command channel. I don't know if you guys know about it, but it's something with regards to the hybrid type of cloud architecture where the command channel would only allow it almost mimic the VPN type of architecture where only the on-premise allowed IP addresses can be able to communicate to the cloud, which is Azure. So that would then manage the session. So I'm not too sure if that's what's needed on the perimeter there.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. So looking at this in terms of data, you guys really broken down a lot. So I see here that it's perimeter that is the issue. So here is the the whole idea. So the physical security, like you said, checking to ensure physically, maybe use of manpower and running human check to ensure that there's no intrusion or putting someone at the gate to secure your data, maybe your data centers. So then identity and access. Now you are allowed in. Who are you? We need to know that. So identity and access will determine the scope, who you are, and the scope to which you can work or access data. So then perimeter is now referring to boundaries, or more like a gateway here. So more like a gateway, an entrance or something entering into another network. So it's there's a point to which you come to and say, okay, this, you can't go beyond here. This is another network. So for instance, you have an intranet, and for you to get out of that intranet, there is a boundary, there's a limit to which you can go. So the communication you can have is with all the local IPs in your intranet. So that in itself, that range of communication that you have is a perimeter for you. It's a boundary. You can't go beyond here. Is that clear, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a boundary. You can't go beyond there. Then the next is network level. So you're looking now at this level. You're putting say for instance, at perimeter level, you could talk of the use of firewalls and network security groups on Azure to secure, to limit. You know, once things are inside an NSG, a network security group, all, if for instance, say VMs, if for instance you have VMs that your data reside in, and all VMs in that network security group, they could communicate with themselves, but not with another outside that network security group. Yep. So then network level, you probably want to go virtual network to implement security. You want to say, oh, only these people with this IP address or coming from this network can be allowed to access our data. So you can implement security at physical level using MAN or all that. You can implement identity and access security at that level. You could use your Active Directory, your Azure Active Directory for that. Then at perimeter level, you could use a firewall or an NSG. Then at network level, you limit the IP. For instance, when we created a SQL warehouse in one of our, sorry, someone is okay. Yes. So for instance, when we were deploying our SQL data warehouse, we had to add the client IP address. So we are just trying to tell the technology we set up, only clients with this, only a client with this IP address on this network is allowed. If you've worked with VMs, you could set up virtual networks, set up subnets within which IPs within that subnet can communicate with this VM. Then at compute level, you could do that. So Azure gives a virtual network service. You can set up VNets. Azure VNets can help you with your network level. Then for compute, also you are looking at maybe for instance, we deployed Databricks as in a sample compute we've talked about here. At that level, at Databricks level, you can also implement technology a security technology by, for instance, we talked about the use of Azure Key Vault to secure your data, to secure access, and only the people added to your workspace can have access to the data or whatever work you are doing. So at compute level, you can also provide security. Then at application level, say your SSMS, or whatever application you are using, you would have to log in. For instance, you saw me trying to access any of the database we created using the SQL Server Management Studio. I had to log in. I had to use the credentials we have. So only users at that level, only users with those credentials can log in, can access the data that we have there. Then at data level, you can provide security. Azure in SQL provides data masking, and you can do data encryption for your data if you want to implement security at data level. All right, guys, that been clear, or is that clear? Hello,
Really
guys.
good. Yeah, we see Daniel. I think that was really good.
Right, guys. Okay. Yeah, so Wale, you can continue.
Okay. So from the, in order to complete this, from the course content for what we've done so far, from the case study, you are meant to spend some time identifying the security tasks and what layer they fall into in terms of this security. So I think basically just at the high level, and then we'll just itemize which layer of the security that falls into. So I think we should start from where the first one. So the storage, which we did working with security configuration did we take at the high level? 3 examples. Okay. So guys, any idea of what kind of security feature did we have to take, or step did you have to take to secure the data leak? I remember. Access keys, right? Hello, yeah.
Okay, I could give an example for Azure Data Warehouse.
Okay.
Where we used transparent data encryption, which helped us protect against the threat of malicious activity by performing real-time encryption and decryption of data at rest. So that was encryption in transit and decryption at rest. So high-level security task, that was transparent data encryption. And then the layer would be network layer.
Okay, that was. You should really get used to calling Azure Synapse now. So that was in
network layer.
Okay. Network layer. Okay, thank you, Funani.
You're welcome.
Oh, that was okay. So we still have data layer. I think we've set up the
Data layer.
Azure Databricks. There was of yeah.
Okay, for Databricks yesterday, let me see what we. Because for Databricks, there's something to do with just a minute. I wrote something down in my notes. There's the access token.
Yeah.
Access token for Databricks. So that we can put it where identity and access, right?
Okay, those the key, access keys, right?
Yeah,
right?
It's a access token. Yeah.
We did that. Databricks. Right. Let me try and remember that. For Cosmos DB now. Did they even set up? Okay. Hold on. I think that was 4. I'm just trying to remember how we set it up in the scenario.
So which one was that?
I remember in the SQL, was it the SQL storage, we could set up which type has access to the SQL. We set up a firewall. We set up a firewall in the Azure storage, so that particular either all IPs could access it, or a specific group of IP addresses. So I think
that would be on the network level.
Yeah. SQL server. Okay. Yeah. So that would be the network. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we have 3. Or is there anyone who has?
So you remember we created an application. We registered an application.
Yeah.
And then we had to give the application key or access to be able to write data.
That was an application key, right?
Yeah.
Was it an app service?
Yeah. Not basically an app service because we didn't deploy the app, or it's more like it. Let's assume it was.
Okay. All right. So that will fall under application, right? That be the application layer.
No. You still have to be under identity and access, yeah.
Not physical security.
So
I think that will be under application
It
for
will be
me.
on. It will be okay.
Because they're saying, remember, the key is almost like an access key of that application to our data. So it's I think it will be under application security.
Yeah.
And also maybe a little bit of identity, but it's more inclined to the application security, I think.
Yeah. So when we're talking about what the application can do, because remember the reason we created it was for it to be able to write data to one of the storages. So that application, the reason we registered it was so that it can have identity and access. But if then if we are now saying, okay, adding an application to Active Directory, then we are saying, okay, at application level, we are securing too. So that's probably like two layers, two security implementation there. Adding it to our Azure Active Directory. Remember, I talked about it at that when I was talking about identity and access. So that's one. And then the application itself implementing security measures is also another way of securing. So at application level too. So I think that's two layers or two security measures taken.
okay. So I want to is
Yeah.
something like geo redundancy. If you deploy something in East US now, nobody in Nigeria can go and have access to your data.
Geo replication.
Just is a stretch, right? But anyway.
If the person has net access to your network, but they can pass through your file or they can access the data no matter where it is stored.
Yeah. Anyway, we have 4 now.
If you remember again when we were configuring to use Colibase to move external data in our blob storage to SQL, to an external table in our SQL data warehouse. Remember, we had to create credentials. We created master key, created scoped credential, database scoped credential. We then before we used it to access. So the master key there was used again to encrypt that scroll. So that's another security layer. So we're securing access there. So that place that you could look at the second layer there. So that's identity and access.
Okay. That was the master.
Yeah. So create master key and database scoped credential.
That was what we were working with the data warehouse.
Yes, yes, yes. And if you remember, yeah, basically look at even the compute we used. For compute, you had to provide credentials, right?
So for blobs now, for example, I think we had access levels that like in your containers now, for example, you can select who has access to what container, what who can access what the kind of data that is like your shared access keys now. Yeah, so those keys, I think
we
people can only get
those,
access to them.
Yeah, shared access. Configure shared access. And again, when we were also configuring, we had to provide access to or connect to one of the containers. One of the containers we had on the blob storage.
Okay. So what did we use to?
Yeah, so we used the keys. We used the key and the storage name. So that's at a storage level, we were also providing access, providing security. So storage level it should be data.
Also blob, right? Yeah.
Data,
yeah. So we are trying to.
I think.
So is that different from this?
No. Shared access, data. What again? Yeah, so I think we have, yeah. Well, we could look at the solution and look at some other we missed out.
Okay. Okay, access levels to blob containers, let's say data. Storage account keys control access to Azure blob.
Okay, we can't see. I think you are
Azure
sharing. Well, are you already sharing? No.
Yeah, but are you saying you can't see this, right?
Yes, we can't see.
Solution.
Are you looking at the
solution now?
Okay.
So I was sharing everything. So this is the solution. Can you see it now?
It's loading. We can see it now.
And now we can say.
All right. So yeah, just side by side as usual. Okay. Yeah. So here we have access levels to blob containers.
Those are
I think this is
data,
the shared access key,
separated
right?
data
The
level.
first one.
Yeah.
Then the account keys are used for Azure Blob or data lake storage. Those things are protected data. Application key. So it's administration in Azure. Okay. So Funani wins on that one.
Yeah.
I win on what?
Yeah, for the
What?
application registration. So
What does the solution say?
It's
application.
the level.
Yeah.
The application.
So basically, if you look at this, you'll notice that
Hello?
most.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Donny.
Yeah.
Yes,
So if you look at,
I can hear you, Donny.
Look at the solution. Basically, all the security measures implemented on data storage solutions are seen to be at the data layer. So, for instance, shared access key on blob storage, on whatever storage you implement. Every access key or implementation of access key, trying to access it using access key, and all that, they are at the data level. So far, it's getting a credential from the storage that you can use to write to it. Then, yeah. So then the rest is basically who are you and what do you want to do? Who are you? Identify yourself and you'll be able to access. And so you would have to configure your application. For instance, yesterday we configured an app that we had to run on the command line. We had to configure providing the details of our job for it to be able to send data to an endpoint. Yep. So different configurations at different level. So configuration for firewall, database scoped, credential, event hub, shared access. Remember we configured security, implemented security for that yesterday, and then application account security, the other data generator on Twitter or Twitter API. So you would need security. You can't just say, oh, this app is deployed or this data is deployed and can be accessed by anyone using a public IP address. In fact, we don't even care. There was one of the applications we used yesterday in our labs, and we could write to it, we could talk to it, and when we were configuring for our data lake communication on Data Factory, the application we specified, the HTTP application we specified there, it could just communicate. There was no security implemented there. So you need to know when it's abnormal. It shouldn't be. You need to know when to secure things. When it is not safe, you need to be able to identify those times or those scenarios.
Okay.
Well, I think we could move on to the next portion of
the next question. Okay, saying what layers have we not dealt with in this course? Can you make suggestions on what you would do in this area? I think the ones we basically listed out, we've actually done them. But if we look at the so the actual solution. So for example, we didn't use Visual Studio to connect with Cosmos DB, to sign in with Cosmos DB, or use the app.config file, right? So I think those are really easy because for this we would create an app.config file and then slot in our account endpoints and access keys, probably as JSON.
Yeah, so I think hello, Ali.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's talking about the layers.
Okay,
Look at our layers. Yeah, which ones out of all the 7?
Yes, like out of the 7, like the one we didn't use, like
that's
is
true.
a solution.
So yeah, we did everything right.
I have a question.
Okay.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Like, in which circumstance, like, we could use like physical layer security?
We could use what?
Sorry?
Could use what?
Physical layer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Well,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Remember when I was giving example that time, I was talking about, for instance, a data center where you have servers, a lot of people store data. You need to secure maybe by putting security personnel there and all that, and then maybe on laptops you put maybe you have to implement measures so that people don't access devices that have data on them. Maybe they should staffs or personnel who have who use data that laptops that have data on them shouldn't take their laptops home or outside the office. And when it's in the office, always lock your Windows screen and all that, all those kind of security.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, we've done all these ones. We've had experience with all these layers. So from this one now, are they saying we should look at everything here and say which one we've not had access, not dealt with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So network, we've done network, we've done identity, we didn't do perimeter. I think, and probably compute.
Yeah.
So we have access. We have done most of them. So then you said compute is like a gateway of VPN.
No. Perimeter. I was talking about creating boundaries. Perimeter. Much like implementing. Yes. Limit access to say if you are outside this, if you are not part of this, you can't communicate. So you probably talk of NSGs, firewalls, talking about your network on Azure, you're probably talking of VNet services.
Okay.
Yeah. And then for compute, remember I said we talked about one of the compute we implemented. Databricks. We talked about Databricks, and you need to give users access. Users, it shouldn't be publicly available. Anyone could just sign in and access. They have to be part of a group. It's a workspace, so it's who you add to the workspace that could should be able to access it. And then I talked about implementation of keywords.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess.
Okay. So yeah, so Nathan was asking for physical security to see. They said staff laptops that hold data. So for example, if your people at the organization are working with a client's data remote, what they call it, locally, you need to have encryption on them, on the data, so they can't, share it with other people, I guess. So, yeah, so these are, as Daniel said, for compute, Databricks restriction permissions to the compute resources. Right, so I think we're good with this. Any questions, any other additions before we move on?
None from me.
Okay, thank you. All right, that's cool. I'm really learning a lot from, I want to say this. I'm learning a lot from today's session. Yep, close that. Okay, so here, yep. We just zoom that in. Nope, there's not it. There's not it at all. Lab 8, where's lab 8? Yep, okay. We have a scenario here. Let's just quickly run through it. As a senior data engineer with AdventureWorks, you're responsible for ensuring that your data estate is secured. You're performing a security check of your current infrastructure to ensure that you have diligently placed security where it is required. This check should be a holistic check of all the services and data that you have created so far, and an identification of any gaps that there may be in the configuration of the security. You have also been asked to tighten up the security of the SQL database, depth data, blah, blah. And I've been asked to set up auditing against the database so that you can monitor access to the database. Furthermore, you have learned that the manage permission for your event hub is not restrictive enough, and you want to remove this permission. Okay. All right, so we've done basically the task in, okay, yeah, we've done the first task from the course content. We've discussed extensively. Okay. Yeah, so now it's time to actually do the practical. So I'm going to split my screen again. So Daniel, so
yeah,
do
you have,
yeah, do I have what?
Do you have any of the SQL database installed?
Like installed or?
Yes.
No, I don't have.
Okay.
Do we need that?
That's where you would need that.
Okay. Okay, from this, right? The SQL database. I don't have. So what to do? Is it just SSMS? I could just create a new database, right? Or or provision, or is it not meant to? I want to just meant to provision one.
No need, Wale. No need, Wale. Can maybe I should share? So I'll just show us what exactly they were saying, and I'll roll back to you.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, the setup I did yesterday just drained my whole credit. So I basically have 0 credit left. Can you see my screen?
Yes, can still see your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You have to wait a few more days.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's so for the SQL database, I had to delete one of the SQL database we created. Yeah. So basically, these are security measures we could set up for on Azure. If you want advanced security, you want monitoring. If you want monitoring, then you have to enable this. So what the benefits you get vulnerability as check how vulnerable your database is, and then do I have samples? I think I have samples of vulnerability assessment. Kind of checks your database like a random check. If there are possible ways people could access it, then it gives you an update to check and make adjustment. Yeah, and it gives you how many high risk it are detected, how many medium risk, and how many low risk. Yeah, so you can easily check on those risks and how to resolve them, what measures to take. And then you have data discovery and classification. Then how to classify your column so that you in terms of processing and accessibility and performance, so that you can get the best performance of your database. So discovery, how easy should it be, your indexing and all that, and then your then it gives you another service, advanced threat protection. But mind you, for the times I've implemented this, I've had emails, several emails. You probably get the emails maybe every week or twice and thereabout. Maybe Wale can tell. Sometimes just get the mail like, "Hi, you guys need to stop this. It's been reporting so many
Vulnerabilities.
Yes, please try to resolve and all that in the work environment." But it's good if your data is a sensitive one and you need to secure it. So for instance, it checks this. This is a sensitivity level. There's a data in our pool that has seen. I just turned it on and you could see the vulnerability assessment already. There are 2 high risk, 1 medium risk, and 4 low risk failures that are detected. And if it's telling you here, if you want to know what it is exactly, you need to enable auditing. You need to enable auditing. And if you are doing that, to turn auditing on, then this. You need to specify the destination of where the audit logs, everything is going to be stored. You need to specify the destination. So look at this and how long it's going to be retained. For instance, it's going to be, you see what it just did now. It's going to be checking and running different tests on your storage, and it's going to be logging everything to a particular place. So I'm looking at this, which storage account should I put the log? Then I have to create a new storage account or use a previous one that I've used before. Yeah, so it's going to create a storage account to this to one of the resource group with this name, and then you could set the retention date. The highest you could get is 90, I think. Oh no, it's more than that. But you could set 90 advisably. So it stores the data. You can look at the whole log for the last 90 days, for the last 3 months. And in case you don't need them anymore, it can just flush them off. Okay. So we didn't talk so much about life cycle management for our blob storage and some of our storages. One of the things you need to do is to manage life cycle. If you are getting in stream data, for instance, for that about fraudulent calls that we talked about, and we are implementing data lake storage, the blob service. If you are going to manage the lifetime of that data, remember, new data will be coming. And the newer it is, the more the current, that's how current your model will be, guys, right? Am I right? If you do data science, I think most of us here probably don't, we are into data science too. If your
what was the question again?
Yeah, if your data is current, then your model too is current, right?
So to speak.
Hmm?
I'm not sure about the scope of that. So
Yeah,
when you
it would be if it has new data. If it has new data, it would
go
be
ahead,
current.
Go ahead, you can go ahead.
But the data can span a long period, so you have much data. The more your data and also included with new data, it's richer that way, right? Hello, guys, are we together?
Yes, Daniel.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now it will get to a limit where you want to know how long should I preserve data? How long should I preserve logs? Even in your blob storage, how long should I preserve all those stream data? I get new streams every day, but how long should I preserve this? Because mind you, cost is there. It will cost you to store more. So one of the things Azure has provided for you is that you could manage the life cycle, the lifetime of those data coming in. So Azure Blob Storage, you have these tiers of data life cycle. You have hot, you have cool, and you have archive. Okay. Let me just finish with this. So basically, we are to just do, I think most of what we were supposed to do, finished on that. So once you're done here, you click on this and it's created that.
I can't see, I'm only seeing your storage settings. Oh, okay, so probably my network question. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. So it looked like this. It looked like this. Once you click OK, then it brings you back here. So you could log analytics, you could search for what other jobs, analytics job you are doing, and everything is, it's going to check. I've deleted our analytics, our stream analytics job we had. I've deleted that one. So I deleted that one, so you probably won't see it here. Yep. Okay. All right. So guys, I turned it on. I did storage. If you check, sorry, I think it reverted everything I did. So this storage, retention days. Too much. So it can store data for years. I think the highest you would have is this. So guys, how many years is this? 3,200, maybe about 10 years,
9
right?
to 10 years, yeah.
So it could return your log data for this number of years. But who wants to do that? You could configure a delete after that too. You could configure a delete. So save. If you are doing, say, Event Hub, and configure for Event Hub, we have deleted what we had here. I deleted basically everything. So you could save, and it's going to be logging everything from this storage, whatever is happening here, it's going to be logging them to that place. And you could check going to that storage that it created. For you to do that, for this storage, this one, think maybe here. This is the audit logs. You can see now that it's already logging everything that is coming from that SQL data warehouse with the date and everything. It's logging them already, and you'd see you would see how it looks already. You can download it and then view it, or probably, so your data is already here. If you want to do analytics on your log data, start that analytics already here. I don't need it, so I'm not downloading. All right, guys, so that's basically that. We've done every other thing. Yep. So we turned on analytics and all that. So the one for Event Hub, you probably come to Event Hub, and then for the one we created yesterday, still under that shared access policy. Remember, we added shared access policy. Hello, guys?
Yeah, Daniel, yeah.
Yeah. So under shared access policy in your Event Hub is where you can implement security for access, to manage access. So remember what you need to set up for your Event Hub. If you remember, guys, I hope we do. The process: creating namespace, creating Event Hub, the job, the input, the output, validating the output, and then connecting the application. So the job, the application that will be sending, you need to give it access. And that's where you have to configure a shared access policy, and then also turn on you just every required security measures that you would need to implement. If it's not secured enough, you could always come here. You could always come to the shared access policies and implement security for it. Would have shown us, but I deleted it. So you are seeing here that the two things are being logged here, both the audit and the vulnerability assessment. Guys, please take note. If you're logging your SQL, it's logging two things. The audit log, who is doing what, who changed what. If you look at the file, there are two SQL servers that it's running audit on, because I deployed two SQL data warehouses. If you check on it, you will see who did what and what did they change at what time. And I don't have time to do that. So guys, that's it for lab 8. So has it been interesting so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see what consumed your credits now.
Yeah, the SQL data warehouse.
Oh my God.
It ate it. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. That was good.
All right, Wale, I roll back to you.
Okay. We open it. Close this one.
It's meant to be short, right?
Yeah, should be.
You want to share, right?
Yes, I'll share my screen now.
Okay. Okay.
Is there other lab files for this? Oh, what am I doing? I have to lab here.
It's been a long way.
Okay, let's identify tools that we can use for monitoring. Let's read the instructions first of all. We should also define a broad monitoring solution that can help us monitor issues that can occur in our data estate. We should then experience common data storage issues and data processing issues that can occur in cloud data solution. Finally, we should implement a disaster recovery approach for data platform technology. Okay, so okay, we've been tasked with defining the standard operating procedures for monitoring that data estate within the organization. We will start by defining monitoring tools that will be used to support the approach. We will then explore some of the common data storage and data processing issues that can occur. There are concerns. All right, so that's okay. So, can you guys still hear me? Because my network is bad.
Yeah, Wale, I can hear you.
All right. So we're to discuss corporate monitoring approach. So So like applications that tools in Azure that can help us in monitoring tools and the justification for them. So what do you guys think? So one that I think Daniel just showed us one on Azure Synapse. I really don't know what to call it. So
Azure Advanced
Azure
Data
Monitor.
Protection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Azure Advanced Data Protection. Wait, is there a scope for this? There's no really any for like for what we're meant to be monitoring. The concerns around recovery and customers to be. There's no real scope. Okay. I'll be most useful to within the organization. Okay, so we can Azure Advanced Data Protection. Okay, so this one is used for Azure Synapse, right? So what's the justification for using it?
Yeah, you want to be able to monitor possible attempts on accessing your what do we call this now? I'm looking for a particular word. Maybe fraudulent
Monitor.
attempts.
Okay. So it enables us monitor, enables data engineer. Fraudulent. Is this a generic case or just particular to this organization's study?
Yeah, it's generic and at the same time it's particular.
Okay. I know there is also Azure Monitor that can help you, send you alerts if you have, like what you were mentioning, those vulnerability alerts, right? So you could configure it to send you wherever there's any cause for concern in any of your deployed resources.
But I think you need to know what exactly Azure Monitor does.
Okay. So
You need to know exactly if it's for data storage resources.
Yes, so I think Azure Monitor covers a large range of resources now. So, for example, once you've deployed it, you should always like have it, here monitoring here. I think for any resource that you even like create. So this is a resource group, for example, and that you can just you can come and assuming I had resources here now, I would have been able to come and configure alerts for a scope that I want and set alert rules and go through my metrics. Right? So, so I think I think Azure Monitor is pretty generic, right? Even for you can set it for event hubs, for storage, for, as we've seen now, resource groups, right?
Yeah.
So let me just say it's a generic. Resources. Yeah. Sends alert. So the justification can be that it sends prompt alerts.
Mm.
Okay. Nathan and Funani, any contributions? Sorry.
On this one, I was just following
Alright.
again.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I was following on this one.
Okay.
Mm.
I didn't have any contribution.
Okay.
But totally getting everything you guys are saying. Because I just read this on the on Microsoft Learn with regards
Okay.
to monitoring. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's one on diagnose and solve diagnostic issues. I'm not sure where it is here. So when I was preparing for DP, I said DP is a 900. There was one particular question that was always saying what's the easiest way to solve troubleshoot and solve issues that you are getting. So one of them, the easiest way is to diagnose and solve issues. I'm trying to look. I thought it was here. So there in that place you have like FAQs already for that particular resource that you are on, and then you have solutions to them.
Okay. Okay.
So since we're dealing with this, yes.
So I was trying to add.
Okay, Nathan.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. Like I was trying to think about virtual machine. Virtual machine.
A
Virtual machines.
Yes.
Okay, how will you monitor a virtual machine in this case?
Okay. I was trying to use like examples, but when you use Azure this like encryption. Like
So
since that here we are trying to like we are trying to talk about like um like implementation of the data platform solution. So for me, I would think about virtual machines. Like when you use like Azure disk encryption, like to encrypt the like the attach like on the disk. I don't know if that one work or maybe I'm out of it.
I guess my network just went off. I'm sorry, I didn't get what Nathan said. Nathan, do you mind?
Yeah, even me, I couldn't hear.
Sorry?
Even me, I couldn't hear.
Oh, so I was saying like virtual machine. Like when you use Azure disk encryption. Okay, I was reading it like during the day. So I was saying that when we're going to start the session, I'm going to propose like this one to see if like it will work, like if it's the right one. Like in this circumstance, like you are using Azure disk encryption to encrypt the attached like the attached disk on like any platform, like maybe Windows or Linux.
Okay, so what tool would you use to like what tool would you use to monitor the virtual machine? Yeah, sure. Do you know? Hello?
Yes. Yes. That tool. That tool.
Let me see if I can. Monitor.
Okay. You still use Azure Monitor or Application Insight?
Yeah.
So you might have a lab session. You might have a lab where they are asking you to configure the database in such a way that it can alert specific individuals on when the data is maybe when the space is remaining maybe 50 gig. Has anyone thought about such scenarios?
Where you have what? Sorry,
You have
Daniel.
your data
Okay.
remaining 50 gig.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone thought about maybe alerting the necessary people to take action?
When you say your data is remaining 50 gig, what do you mean?
So here now. Yeah.
What do you mean? Is it like your let's say you're transferring something or what? Like how does your data remain 50 gig?
So yes. Imagine you deployed initially a 1 terabyte space SQL database, and over time you've been using it, but you wanted to set a limit. You might not know that you've used so much and you just have a little space left. But you want Azure to be able to tell you automatically when it gets to that point to say, oh, we just want to let you know that it's remaining 50 gig space now from your 1 terabyte space.
Yeah, so I think you do that by setting rules, right? Rules for example, oh my, I thought I had the blob here. So I think you can do that by now setting the type of alerts that you want and configuring when exactly you want it to execute, I guess. But I think it should be very possible now. Should be yeah, I have a blob. Let me see what kind of metrics maybe. Actions. No. No. Daniel, I'm not sure, but I think it should be here. I think it's the rules that you'll be able to set it up.
Yep.
Oh, I meant
So
to.
click on new alert. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So once you're here, you select resource. Oh, you don't have. Yeah.
I have a blob with where's that blob now?
Storage account.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I have here.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's no condition. So check why is it saying. Can you see condition?
Maybe
I can't see.
no, you can't see.
Yeah, I can see.
Is my network or yours? My network is really slow right now.
Okay.
Okay. It's here file. So let me say blob now. Okay. Still none. Wow. That's really interesting. And I don't have any other. Let me see app service then. App service. Still? Will fail since the subscription not registered to my okay, probably because of the kind of subscription I'm using. Can you guys see this alert, this info here? So assuming I was using probably my work email now. Oh, I don't want to use that.
Or can I share?
Yeah. Please do. So so can see it in action.
All right. Yes. Oh, sorry. I almost turned video for myself. Okay, guys.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So basically, you would have to come to alert, just like Wale has been showing. Click on alert. So I'm doing for a particular data warehouse, and this is the data warehouse. Data warehouse database. So that's the resource. Because I am doing it from the storage itself, that's why it selected it by default. Then I'm to select the condition. What do I want to report? What exactly do I want? Do I just want metrics or activity log or everything? And then is it a platform kind money kind of service or activity log administration? But then when you look at this different signals, it checks for CPU percentage, data output percentage. So Imagine you want to be able to track this. You want to be able to track this. You can do manually and set the manual condition, and you can, for instance, data storage sites. And also for disaster recovery storage size, whichever one, if you are setting up for the disaster recovery size, you need to configure this. And work group, active queries, and all that. But we are majorly talking about this data storage size, or even the memory percentage, whatever one you are looking at. Then it will then ask you for threshold. How often, how do you want this to be performed? If I select dynamically now, what is going to happen here? It will consider historical use of the database and look at trends and be able to alert me based on trend. So let's say I have a pool of database to say in March, usage tends to go up and it hits so much, or for the past few weeks, it has been rising. And then it should be able to look at it and say, if this is the trend, the next few days or the next few weeks, this would be. So that's what dynamic does, right? And if I want it to be high, it checks often. If I want it to be low, in the intensity, if I want it to be low, it checks maybe a few times at a longer interval, medium, moderate interval, high, it checks almost every time. But that's going to be expensive for you. Dynamic itself is expensive. But for static, you are saying, okay, if the storage is either you are doing a less than or the total storage is let's say 1 terabyte. If it's less than that storage, okay, you are still going to set action group and then the alert name and all that. If it's less than that, and then the threshold value, the count, say for instance, how many I want it, 30. So let's say 30 and all that. So here it is, whenever the total storage size is greater than 30, or you say is lesser than. Okay, if it's lesser than, then it should report. Okay, so and how often should this be done? You should let the calculation take place in 15 minutes every 5 minutes. So it finishes one calculation in 15 minutes. Once it's done, it waits another 5 minutes to start another calculation or evaluation, sorry. Okay, the way you understand, the period within which it's, look at this. This as the interval which over which data points are grouped, the data points used to calculate. So, okay, check the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes and all that, and evaluate based on that, or maybe the last 24 hours and evaluate based on that. But if look at the selection, look at if I set 24 hours and when I said 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes, it's calculating 34. And then guys, so it's basically showing a time span here and the storage used. But if it's going to predict here, it's going to do that comparing the last maybe 1 hour, 24 hours, and look at the whole trend, and then it tries to alert if the condition is met. And if the condition is not met, what it does again, it waits for another 5 minutes. If you say 5 minutes, you can say, okay, no, do this whole check for me every 1 hour or every 30 minutes. The least is 1 minute and the highest is 1 hour. Okay. So guys, once we are done, you can see your statement, your condition preview whenever total storage is less than 30. And you're done. The estimated cost for this check, Azure charges you for these calculations. So you need to select the least expensive one so you don't get charged too much. Then you have to select an action group. I have these 2 emails attached to this action group, and then I can select that application insights. I has been using that before, and it's going to send that, and you specify the name. What's the name we can use here? Storage. Storage size lot. Then the description, then severity. So severity here is just for a alert rule. You can give it priority 0. Okay. And priority 0 says how important this alert is. And if Microsoft said specifically, it's going to be about how critical this database is to your business process. And you really want to be keen, you want to be alert as much as possible, maybe a message on the phone, a message on an email alert, maybe those 2, just a way to get your attention. So if the severity, this is the least severity, 4, relaxed, but 0 is the same thing as priority, guys. Then enable alert role upon creation. So once I create this role, it will be enabled. But if I don't, I will have to go and enable the role I created. So, and we are here. So basically you could do new alert rule or come here, new alert rule. Okay, Wale, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we've discussed monitoring tools that will be most useful. So Nathan, I was showing you something that for the VM2, you would need to use actually Azure Monitor for that as well.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're done with task 1 and 2. So yeah, let me share so we can see where we are now. We are now on task. We should be on task 3 now. Oh no. So we've done this 2 over here. want to assess issues that are data processing issues. Okay. Review the questions outlined in exercise 3. Let's see, was that use the table to document 2 data processing issues that was agreed. And to agree. Okay, as a group select 2 data set issues you have identified and log them. Okay, so while we were all practicing reading throughout the day and all that, did we face any issues with with the storage, setting up storage, setting up any of the stuff for the labs, right? Did any of that happen to us?
No, I was following with ease.
Same thing for me.
So, I'm trying to think of so we didn't face any issue. Let me see. Did I face an issue? No. Anyway, so I think it's safe to move on. Or what about processing issues? Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Managing disaster recovery. Okay. Open the file. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me see if they have anything in their solutions for. This. Okay, so I doubt they will even give solutions for this because it's meant to be a group discussion. Sorry, this is for the last one. Okay. Discussion and listing data requirements and data structure that your group has identified. So this should be. Let's go to this last one now. There are concerns around the recovery of the products database that is stored in Cosmos DB. There's the person asks to provide.
Yeah, so the steps here are about recovery, eh?
Yes. Okay, so we're saying let's assume a database
I think Wale. Yeah, hello, Wale.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we're saying if we accident Cosmos DB, right? So how can we? The only way I think we can do this is that we have to reach out to Microsoft. So since we've deleted it, right?
Yeah.
Someone asked that. So if anyone has an alternative approach,
Actually, I don't think there's another
so-
approach. You don't have the code behind Azure.
Okay, so let's see now. Let's say if you have such a problem, I think you need to raise a support request with them, and then they'll ask for the details of the account that you that got deleted, right? So God help you if you don't have it. Probably get a query. Yeah, because I once experienced something like this where I deleted the resource group when I just joined my. I deleted it. Ran into a lot of problems.
I think I remember.
Remember, was not funny. So anyway, they'll ask you for your subscription.
Yeah.
And then probably the name of the resource. Resource name. So in this case, probably the Cosmos DB. Also, yeah. It's here.
Okay.
Then what else did I ask you?
What else? What else? This is. They won't ask you for resource name, a resource group. Yeah, at all.
So the first thing is to raise a ticket.
So what they deleted in the scenario here, it's I think someone deleted or someone mistakenly. I think that sounds like a deliberate mistake.
No. It can actually happen. It can actually happen because what I thought was, you know how when you open a resource group, those items are listed there. So when you now select the item in the resource group that you can now delete. So imagine if you just delete without selecting one, you just delete the resource group.
That's why Microsoft provided a solution, Logs.
Yeah, so that.
Yeah.
But how would you know? So if you that's so that to prevent a resource from being deleted. How you know if are you going to put a lock on everything so that none of them can be deleted?
You can set a lock on.
So every time everybody wants to, they will come and meet you.
You can set a lock on a resource group. So they can't delete.
So every time they want
It's
to code.
advisable. Yeah, it's a good
They have
practice.
to meet
You
the admin.
yeah, it's a good practice. You set
Yeah, true.
lock for every resource you create. So in fact, in case you get drunk and you are trying to delete, it will tell you that there's a lock. Maybe you wake up tomorrow morning and discover you were trying to actually delete what you created. And thank God for the lock. You did not get the key.
Yeah, that situation may happen.
That's a what?
Hmm?
What did you say?
Now, I was saying that the situation Daniel was explaining that may happen.
Yeah,
It's
it's
true.
possible actually.
It's
Yeah,
possible
it's
now.
possible. May happen.
Yeah, so you just need to pour lock.
Anyway, so let's say, so I think before my Azure does that, they keep a backup for you for a period of time after for in case there's a deletion, accidental deletion, they can help you to restore your data, right? So now this one that is saying 10 like this, I don't know if we have up to 10 or let's see. So any in addition to this, so let's say after they've done this, they now help you restore the data. Okay, so obviously they're not what happens is that they don't give you back the, let's say you deleted, okay, in this case a Cosmos DB. They're not collecting, or they didn't collect the name of the resource group, so they'll have to create it like in a different resource group for you. Then you now probably migrate it to your own. So,
Yeah.
So
Okay, so you give them
migrate.
you give them your resource name. Is it subscription ID? Yeah.
Yeah, and subscription ID.
Subscription ID.
They'll collect the.
This is a Cosmos DB, yeah? So maybe, and it's the product database. So you have to give them the name.
The name Nabi.
Remember when you create a custom Cosmos DB account, you have to create databases inside. It's not the structure. Once you create a database inside your Cosmos DB account, maybe the database could be a MongoDB or a Cassandra, whichever one. Then you have to provide the name. You have to provide the name of that DB. So it's more like you are trying to pin what exactly you are trying to recover down. The subscription ID, the Cosmos, the database name.
So that means we're going to need the what is it called now?
So you have the Cosmos DB itself, that's the account name.
Then the name of what you did
and the name of the database, yes. Okay. That way what exactly you are trying to recover, the database itself can be located. You know, if you are writing code and you want to identify an organization, you have to post a user in an organization, you have to be able to pin maybe under what department, under what organization, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they obviously need this. Okay.
I know for
you want.
you are trying to raise a support on Microsoft, depending if it's a dev or standard or basic or premier kind of support. I have not really called support on for any of the data solution. So we need to find out what supports are available for your data storage.
Yeah, so yes, that's true. That's true, because they have different you have to know the kind of support you need before you raise is an okay, so here I should put raise an appropriate support stick. So you need to find out debug what kind of support you need then before you raise it. Okay. I don't know if there's any other thing, but I think so. Let's go check up for. Okay. So you need your subscription ID, with the account name, need the Cosmos DB. Let me put it side by side.
Okay. So for recovery,
so before you now raise the call them. So so the kind of support is severity support, yes?
Yeah. Is severity B, severity C, Azure.
So restore data indication about the name of the new. Yeah, migrate the account using Azure Cosmos DB feed. Azure Cosmos DB change feed. Do you know that? I have to check this out. Yeah, so I think we've got most of that. Yep. Okay. So this one on data structure. Yeah. So you, yeah.
Well, we can't hear you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, my network is really poor. So I said we've discussed the disaster recovery. So mostly when you delete something you're not meant to delete, you might need to reach out to Azure personnel. So with that, guys, I think we've covered all the labs. We have successfully done it. This is really big for me because I don't think I would have done all this. I would have, but it would have taken me a much longer time. I wouldn't have done this in a week. I've been postponing and just reading the material instead. So this is really big for me, guys. I'm very, very happy I was part of this.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Journey. Really great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will hand over to Daniel now.
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Wale. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much, guys. You've really been encouraging. It's not been easy. I must say, having to sleep late and then up again to work the following day and all that. It wasn't easy. So just for support options and all that, to round off, you can access your different support plans and self-help resources, or even submit a support request here on Microsoft Azure by clicking on this, and you could raise a ticket to whatever it is you want to report. You might need to get a support plan for yourself. Then Microsoft gets to reach out to you. So these are all support requests. You could do that from your Azure portal. It's hard to see, but it's done. All right, guys. So you can also reach support on this at Azure support. Yeah. And then I was showing us about logs earlier. This is a log I implemented for a resource group. You could create a log, just give it a name and a log type, delete. And if you don't want them to make writes to it, you just put a read-only kind of log, so they can't write or manipulate any of the resources. If you select delete, they can't delete any of the resources. Then you can specify any name here, something that can make you remember the log. Then you click OK. So I created this one, and the type is a delete on this resource group. So what happens here is that if you want to delete any of this resource here, select delete, type yes. Before this, I could delete, but now I implemented the lock and it's going to fail. So it's saying the scopes, they are locked, so you can't delete any of the resources here. So that way you could secure all technologies you've deployed in your resource group and all that. So remember, if you did AZ900 Azure Fundamental, you probably know how to group your resources in terms of production and development. Okay. So guys, thank you so much. It's been a very long walk, and I really hope, for me, it's been really insightful, and I really hope you've learned so much. You could attempt the exam in a few days. We also shared the terms with you, and please, you can, as soon as possible, I recommend you write the exams now. I recommend you write the exams now, and you know, as I would say, just be able to take it after now. It's very easy, guys.
Like, I would like to say something.
Okay. Yes, Nathan.
Yeah. For me, I would say thank you, okay, to everyone. So I've never used Microsoft Azure before. Like even seeing the UI, how it looks like. Like this, my first time like to see how it look like and all the service they are given. And I found it like very interesting because for me I was only like in Amazon, like okay, like it was like a recommendation like from work, like I should go and do Azure, like attend the exam. So I know like where to start. I was saying that maybe I was going to take a course and then read, attend the class, and then see how it goes. And then
Yeah.
I found uh, Daniel's post. So it was like saving time, uh, saving time, summarizing all the resources like in a few days, and then like to be able like to do something in a short period. So I'll say thank you because like now I'm even more interested into Microsoft Azure technology like more than before. So it's like I have now something new in my mind. I can say that something was born today.
Wow. Oh, great, great, great. Thank you so much, Nathan. Thank you so much. It's really been great working with you guys. I've learned from our contributions. I've learned from different uh, different sessions that we've had. Sometimes our network just tries to spoil. It's just, I think it's just environmental, and we just can't help it. And hopefully, we would be able to meet. I'm also thinking uh, after this, I would like to take the DP-200 201 exam. That's for the associate for this particular part. It's really, it's going to make sense. Really, it's going to make sense for me. I to become an associate. I still want to become or to go further in uh, really achieving more and knowing a lot of things about Azure data engineering and everything around that, and maybe one day become an expert. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that would be cool. Would be cool. I'll become an expert into Azure data engineering.
Yeah, so I think Microsoft added a new exam. They added a new exam. So this is the path DP-200, which is this one that we are preparing for, and then DP-201, which is for an associate. If you get this, you become an associate in Microsoft. Yep. So I would recommend this exam too is to be updated soon. So they are making changes to both of them. This is designing an Azure data solution. So it's basically on design, and the technologies are so, as the things we've discussed so far, and trust me, there's nothing really new about this. It's going to be design based, and maybe from the angles of design, what angles you should consider when you are designing a solution. Okay, guys, thank you once again. What I'll do next is to upload this the video. I'm going to upload the video links on LinkedIn, and I'll reference you guys in the post I'm going to create in the resource group. And yeah, so if you need anything, you could always come back to the post.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a wrap, guys.
Wale,
Thank you so much.
Wale.
Wale?
Yes,
Hello,
Daniel.
Wale?
Yep. Yep.
Yes, and Nathan was checking on you.
Oh. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Yes, we would like to say thank you for the contribution.
Yeah, it was great. It was great having you. Thank you for staying through it.
If not that it is dark here, I would have asked us for a group photo.
Yeah, like that group photo, like it's summarized into a group WhatsApp, so going into
I would have asked us to. I attended a seminar when we were on Zoom, and
okay.
we're asked to take selfie. So selfie is you just turn on your camera and make your face appear.
Yeah.
And then you take a screenshot. Okay, guys.
So you're going to
So,
set the dogs.
hooray.
So
Yeah, so I shared the DOMs with you guys.
okay. Last question.
Yes, I sent everything.
Okay. I was going through the exam, like what they provide. How about I saw like Azure Azure A A to Z. Is that one helpful like into career?
Azure AZ.
Yes.
Okay, Azure AZ 900.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, that's fundamental. That's fundamental. But if you've done, so what Microsoft recommends is that you do Azure Fundamental first. So if you noticed while I was, there were points when I made reference to some things that I did when I was preparing or learning about on Azure fundamentals.
Okay.
So the basic start point where Microsoft would recommend for anyone is to start with Azure fundamentals. I've
Oh.
written the exam. Yes, I've written that one.
Mm.
And of course, the prerequisite still stands if you are not used to Azure yet. But basically, you can still take the exam even without AZ900. So far, you know what everything that you would be asked, like we did in this lab sessions. So far, you know everything, the idea behind them, and how Microsoft presents or meets those ideas. Then you can go for the exam.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, guys.
So now it's already one over here.
All right. Take
All
care of
right,
you.
Nathan, take care of
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah.
Uh,
You too.
I've forgotten what country you're from again.
I'm in Uganda.
And oh, okay.
Yeah.
This from Uganda, Funani from Zimbabwe,
Yeah.
myself from Nigeria, Wale from Nigeria, Kemi from
Yeah. Like
Nigeria.
when you read the name Wale, like the
Yes,
first thing
yes.
in my mind, Nigeria.
It sounds like what?
Like the first name which comes in my mind is Nigeria.
Oh,
Actually,
Really?
I know some. Yeah, actually, I know some Hausa.
Oh.
Yeah,
from Hausa.
yeah, some Hausa like how to speak like Yakaki, Lakia, Yakaki, Lakia, Kalau.
Wow.
Wow.
Do you have Hausa friends or how? How does that happen?
Yeah, Uni.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a
Okay.
friend like is in I think Kano State. Yeah, Kano
Mm.
State. Yeah. They was trying to teach me because I wanted to learn Yoruba, but
Mm.
he told me that he doesn't know Yoruba, but he only knows Hausa. I said it's okay. At least I want to pick one language from Nigeria.
Oh,
Wow,
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 wow.
wow,
I
wow.
like that. So the thing here is that we don't really have much guys from other nations here. Maybe highest we hear or listen to their language, even if they come to Nigeria, is English everywhere. I've not really had opportunity to speak native languages with other guys from the different nations in Africa. But I once had Ghanaians, Liberians, the likes as classmates back then in school.
Oh,
I hope to one day visit these countries and yeah,
okay.
to explore,
You
to know
you bring
what's
about
happening there.
we have a group. I hope this is not the last session. We're going to take again another session, like about
Yeah.
another exam, like you've been suggested. Then we can continue. Like, why not like making something like we can always meet about something, and then like we can even come up with something like a project, like we create maybe about COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wale, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's something we can plan towards, and create a structure for it. Because I'm all up for, like actually building stuff because I find that's the best way to actually learn. So that's why I actually agreed to this lab because, do a lot of hands-on. Because when
Yeah.
you have hands that you actually it sticks better and you actually know whether you know it or not, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
all up for that, and especially
yeah, and
if that can
again,
translate
yes,
a
Wale,
product
yes,
or
Wale,
something.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. And even for the exam, you're you're ready. If they bring lab, if they don't bring lab, you know you are ready
Yeah.
to take the exam.
Yeah, actually, for me, I was scheduled for it. I think for the end of like maybe next week,
Okay,
maybe
okay.
at the end of this month.
All right, all right.
Okay. So,
Yes, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank God we have a WhatsApp group and we'll communicate better. And please
yeah,
let's stay in touch. Yeah, please let's
yeah,
stay in touch.
yeah. So have a
You
great evening.
and we hope to hear the passing scores. And please, when you pass, you can just maybe reference me so I get to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, please And then would also add all of us in the group, the successes coming in, whichever one it is actually. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm very sure success is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, night, guys. I have to
Well,
go.
I know it's late. It's late as at Nathan's end already.
Yeah.
Yeah, like here it's 1
Yeah,
a.m.
and you can
Fun.
also follow Microsoft Inspire conference that
Okay.
is ongoing to learn new. Okay, it's in build conference. They talk about new invention and all that. But right now, it's just about business and business opportunities. All right, guys. Have a lovely night and see you tomorrow.